Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave birth to time and space. Once there was an explosion, a bang which set a planet spinning in that space. Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion.
Rain, here it goes.
There's no doubt that Death Stranding will be one of the most polarizing games to players and reviewers alike. It's a game with high expectations that doesn't follow the traditional expectations modern gaming has set on the industry. It's slow, tedious, and repetitive, yet at the same time it's therapeutic, satisfying, and zen-like. Death Stranding is a very ambiguous game, and for that same reason, I'll try not to spoil anything for you. After a catastrophic event known as the Death Stranding, the United States and seemingly the rest of the world has been completely changed as we know it. Civilization is segregated into cities with large gaps in between. It's a world of isolation and quarantine that's constantly haunted by the memories of what the world used to be and the monsters that haunt it now. These monsters, known as BTs, come from the world of the dead, crossing the boundary between our two worlds and are a constant obstacle looming over our head. Who are we exactly, though? Well, we're Sam Porter Bridges, a porter or a delivery man. In our modern society, we joke about just playing as a simple UPS or delivery man, but in a post-Death Stranding world, they're the connective tissue that connects city to city by delivering vital packages to isolated cities. In return, connecting these cities brings them online to the chiral network, this world's version of the internet under the recovering United Cities of America government. Through connecting the cities back together, delivering packages to those in need, and being a vital part of society, Sam begins to reconnect America, all while slowly uncovering more about the people in this world, the Death Stranding, and how it all connects. In typical Hideo Kojima fashion, the story is told through long-form cinematics that rival and at times surpass those in Hollywood. Characters are filled with depth and personality despite their odd names being like Dead Man and Die Hard Man. Nevertheless, the performances here are truly outstanding, being some of the most captivating performances I've seen in a video game. Ultimately, the story grabbed me by its mysterious foundation that fed me bits of lore and information the more I invested into the game. Whether it was through the long-form cutscenes or the subtle stories told through the emails and mission briefs, Death Stranding is a fascinating story, though told in unconventional ways. Through its many gameplay previews and trailers, many, including myself, thought that Death Stranding looked like an overly simplistic walking simulator, and I was partially right. Death Stranding's gameplay does have elements of action here and there, but the larger gameplay ratio is walking from point A to point B to deliver item X. Where I was wrong was whether it'd be oversimplistic, because Death Stranding is the most intricate walking game. Where any other video game would treat walking as just pressing forward on the analog stick and that's it, Death Stranding kicks it up a notch to some absurd levels. Sam Porter has weight to him as he walks the uneven mountain terrain. Carrying too much on your back and you'll begin to lean on one side too much. As you walk, you'll have to shift your weight around to adjust your movement. This means that something as simple as walking down the hill can easily mean Sam tripping off the side of a cliff and dying. While you can respawn, your mistakes have consequences like the damaging of your cargo and ruining your orders. The terrain isn't your only obstacle though. In this post-Death Stranding world, some are against the reconstruction of any government. They love the chaos and freedom of this demolished world, and these terrorists, or mules, look out for porters like yourself to rob and kill. On top of the human enemies are the BTs, these creatures from the world of the dead, that haunt and terrorize the world of the living. They appear along with the Timefall rain, but with the help of your baby, you can detect their direction and hope you remain undetected. The babies attached to your chest come from brain-dead mothers. They're the bridge between the world of the living and the dead, and thus, they can help detect the otherworld creatures like BTs. However, that's another management system to use as well. Babies get stressed when you're hurt, when BTs show up, and so on. Like any other baby, when babies feel scared or anxious, they'll start to cry, only making the mules and BTs more aware of your location. Over time, I began to unlock new tools and weapons like grenades that would help take down these enemies, making my anxiety and fear of them dwindle down pretty quickly. Like the terrain I had been walking on for hours already, these enemies went from being enemies to just any other obstacle. Now that theme of management is a constant mechanic in Death Stranding. From how you place your cargo on your body to your footwear wearing out as you walk and baby stress levels, Death Stranding is all about complicated management systems. The satisfaction of dealing with them comes through all the thank yous and social interaction you receive in a game where you're never really directly interacting with people. Death Stranding is an online game, but not in the traditional sense. You don't see other players online, but rather their creations. Death Stranding creates these server pools that gather a handful of people together. This means that as I brought new parts of the world into the chiral network, I began to see other people's building efforts in my world and vice versa. I could build a bridge in my world over a large river that could then appear as a useful structure for someone else playing the game. That introduced a sense of camaraderie between me and all the other people playing online. I wasn't just helping rebuild America, it was me and everyone else playing too. It's with that I found myself going out of my main and side objectives to build new structures, warning signs for players, and pick up other people's lost cargo so I could help deliver them to where they needed to go. In return, I'd see a few likes appear on the side of my screen as I went on my way. The social likes act as a currency to help upgrade Sam's stats, but also act as a motivational boost to myself, letting me know that my efforts and hard work was appreciated by some other real-life player. All in all, Death Stranding is a social-heavy, asynchronous online game that caters to heavy inventory management. It's slow-paced and repetitive with bits of action toward the later end of the game, but ultimately this is a game that takes its time to tell a story. For some, it'll be too much of a sluggish build-up, swaying away many people. For others, like myself, they'll find the process therapeutic and rewarding with new bits of story and action elements. With that said, the slow-paced nature of Death Stranding is front and center most of the time. It's not for everyone. As with all my reviews, I can only really speak for my own take on the experience. There's a sense of beauty in the despair and isolation of this world. The Death Stranding has dismantled the environment, leaving it this wide-open mountainscape that looks as if society was never here. Sam is but a speck of dust in this world, but the marquee along with the rest of the players online leave can be monstrous. Like a nature walk through a forest, Death Stranding looks simple, but lovely. The terrain here looks incredibly realistic, from the plant life growing and dying as timefall hits it, to the shine of rivers leading down the mountainside. Character models are even more stunning with some of the most realistic facial capture. Norman Reedus, Troy Baker, Guillermo del Toro, and Margaret Qualley are phenomenally captured here along with the rest of the studded cast. When it comes to performance, Death Stranding is impressive on both the base and Pro model PS4. Base PS4 runs at 1080p 30fps, while the Pro can render at a checkerboard 4K native resolution, also at 30fps. With the resolution being the only major difference between both versions, both Pro and base PS4 maintain a mostly constant 30fps, outside of a few hiccups during some cutscenes. Those tended to be the mirror shots when Sam was in his private room. Most likely due to the double rendering of Sam instead of a reflection trick, the game will dip into the mid 20 frames per second in these instances. Outside of that, you can expect a stable performance. If you're on PS4 Pro, you do have the option to render at 1080p instead of 2160p through the system settings. This ironed out most of the frame rate dips. However, you can also do a force super sample from 2160p to 1080p using the system options for a sharper visual on a 1080p TV. Death Stranding is a true showcase of this generation's visual capability, just like The Last of Us proved to be a technical showcase for the PS3. This is Kojima's love for movies, cinematic framing, and obsessively realistic visuals firing at full cylinders. The performance of actors are not only a spectacle to watch, but to hear too. While there's a lot of Hollywood stars here, it's more impressive to see the less known actors give it their all. Tommy Earl Jenkins, who may not be as well known as someone like Mads or Norman, is incredible with his performance as Die Hard Man. Music selection here is well done too. Low Roar's tracks playing as I spend hours walking the devastated world gave me this melancholy but also meditative-like feeling anytime I was on an expedition. After completing my 50-hour adventure, I found myself playing many of Death Stranding's tracks on my own walks. Church's Death Stranding, Hoshino Gen's Pop Virus, and Low Roar's Don't Be Serious were easily the most addicting songs for me. Just how I didn't think Joker was a fun movie to watch but still thought it was a cinematic masterpiece for what it was and the social commentary it made, I found myself feeling the same way about Death Stranding. Death Stranding isn't that fun. It lacks action, and when it does have it, it takes an absurd amount of build up to get to it. The slow-paced nature of the gameplay drags on unlike any other artful experience that usually keeps its gameplay down to 4 hours or less. Death Stranding is an easy 30 to 80 hour game at least. Despite it all, I found myself smiling with every delivery made and with every thank you received. As a college student a few years ago, I didn't like spending my free time in uni helping other people study for exams, but the satisfaction of seeing the joy on that person's face when they scored a better score because of my help, it was enough to get me to keep helping. I felt like I was doing my part, and that's sort of what I feel like with Death Stranding. It's soothing and reflective, but also sluggish and tiresome like any given chore you probably received as a kid.
And no, play my tricks, fragile mind, Luis-GVN.